Hey music fans! As a roadie, I had this great opportunity to tour with all these bands. I wrote a book about my experiences on the road, and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios, and it's now sold millions of copies on Kindle. I'm Joel Roadie, and this is my podcast, Party Like a Rock Star.
When I was with Oz, it was mostly over the winter months between 88 and 89. And right after the new year, we went to Japan. So it's still winter over there. And everybody had to come from the four corners of the earth to get there. So by the time we all arrived at the hotel, everybody was just dog tired. But then a call went out saying like, hey, a bunch of people were going to gather in the hotel bar. So I go down there and it's, now this is, early 89. So it's Ozzy, Sharon. We had Geyser Butler, the bassist from Black Sabbath, was the bassist on the tour. Couple of crew guys and our translators. So they had two translators the promoter gave us. So we're sitting down there having a nice time drinking. All of a sudden, this groupie appears out of nowhere. And in Japan, you can tell the groupies because they're dressed in haute couture. They're literally all dressed. Like in America, they're all like ripped stockings and hey, and little Catholic schoolgirl skirts. But in Japan, it's like designer dresses, like $2,000 dresses.
That's the kind of stuff Eddie wears.
Exactly. Well, they're all trying to impress Eddie. So she appears at the table and starts talking to Ozzy. So Sharon makes believe that she's with Geyser. Because like Sharon wasn't that famous yet. Like
we want to hear the impression. Come on, let me hear the accent.
Oi, Geyser. Make believe I'm your old lady. Let's see how far she gets with Oz. And then Ozzy is going, oh, God, no, I've been on a plane all day. Everything happens to me. Oh, yeah. So anyway, this girl, she wouldn't leave him alone. And she gets more and more familiar with him. And she starts playing with his hair. Now, that's Ozzy's real hair. I swear to God. But anyway, Ozzy's going, oh, darling, don't be, I'm going to use clean language. Don't be messing with me hair. I don't like it with people. And she kept doing it. And finally, he grabbed her hand. He said, really, I told you not to mess with my hair. And she started lipping off to him. So at that point, everything changed. And Sharon, how freely can I speak on this show?
It's pretty. We've had some pretty raucous stuff, I think.
Okay. So Sharon gets up, gets right in this girl's face, and she goes, I know what you are. You're a fucking whore. And she goes back and decks this chick with a right. Her feet left the ground. And she goes flying back and lands on the floor. But here's the thing. In this bar, there were seats and tables, but there were also just these cubes that were covered with formica. Her head missed the corner of one of those cubes by 3 inches. That would have been it. Wow. As soon as she went down, the front of house guy immediately got her up and got her out of the bar, right? Because the bar was packed. There were all these other tables in there, and at every table was a man and a woman. So, and I mean, everything was fine except for this kerfuffle that happened. So they get her out of there. We all try to calm down, and then the police show up. So the police start talking. They don't even come over to where we are. They start talking to all the other Japanese people in the bar. So Sharon goes to the translators. Oi, go over, find out what they're telling the coppers. So they go over and they're listening to one guy talk, and they look
Sharon
at each
had
other.
a sore throat.
Yeah. And then they go over, they listen to another guy talk, and the two translators look at each other and shake their heads, and they come back over to we are. Sharon goes, well, what are they saying? So one of the translators says, you guys got nothing to worry about. He goes, first of all, every one of the guys at these tables is telling the cops, whatever those English people say is what happened, that's what happened. And then we discovered that you see all these women at those tables? We go, yeah. They go, those aren't their wives. So the other thing they're telling the cops is, you never saw me here.
That's awesome. And the groupie married Dennis Leary?
Oh, no. Dennis got married to a lovely lady named Anne.
Yeah.
Who's good with horses and dogs.
So I heard on some other stuff, Geyser Butler loves his wind-ups. Do you have any wind-up stories from Geyser?
Geyser is the driest wit I've ever met. And I mean, it's like bone dry. I mean, you really kind of have to once you get used to it, he's the funniest guy in the world. But the main thing I remember about Geyser was, because you got to remember this is 88, 89.
Yeah.
He could not stand the band Poison. He thought that was the death of metal. Not death metal. He thought it was the death of metal. So, Poison had this song called Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
I've heard it once or twice. I toured with Poison.
There you go. So, well, Geyser would walk around singing this all day. This is all he would say. Every sausage has its pan.
Like,
that's Geyser. But Geyser also, the nice thing about, Ozzy couldn't remember anything from back in the day, and Geyser remembered everything. And Geyser had some brilliant Sabbath stories. From back in the day. I mean, the oddest of which, because it was just like, oh man, that was a different time. They immediately go from 4 Yabos in Birmingham to playing sold out stadiums in America. It was just like, bang, I mean, that album, I'm old enough to remember that album. A lot of people remember when Nevermind came out, and it's like, 1 week there was no Nevermind, and then the next week, like everybody owned that album. That's the only other time I ever saw that was that first Sabbath album. And not not the people that were into soft music didn't buy it. Everybody else bought that album, and it was just like I grew up in Jersey, which is, but it was just part of the firmament after that. Yeah. And so when they come over in 70, Geyser's telling me they're playing Winterland. She's the most beautiful woman in the world he ever saw. She was like, flashing her boobs at him, the whole thing. And she threw him a vial of some white powder. And Geyser took it over to the side of the stage, laid out 6 lines, and did 5 of them. And then realized it was PCP.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
And he said the rest of the night, he was flipped out. And then after the show, the other 3 guys in the band had to walk him up and down all the hills in San Francisco, because he thought if he stood still, his skeleton was going to jump out of his mouth and run away. But that was back in the day when you could still take an offering from an audience member and not think they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
So how long till he took the 6th line?
He did his tech a favor and only left him 1 line.
Hey, the podcast is over. What are you still doing here? Well, while you're here, like and subscribe. Thanks.